have been a number of interesting tactical trends at this World Cup, and one of them is the general absence of two-man striking teams. Edinson Cavani and Luiz Suarez of Uruguay constitute probably the only pure team of two strikers in the tournament. While 4-4-2 has made something of a comeback from its heyday as the standard tactic in football well back into the 2000s, this is largely as a defensive measure. The 4-4-2 allows two compact banks of four for defence, as shown by Iceland, Burnley or Athletico Madrid, and gives good coverage of the whole pitch. However, many of these 4-4-2s are more like 4-4-1-1s, with one genuine striker and a shadow striker or attacking midfielder playing off them. Increases in pressing and the fitness of teams meant that withdrawing a second striker to more of a playmaking role makes sense, because it increases a team's defensive solidity. This means that while the low block looks like there are two men playing up top, only one of them is a genuine striker. The other player is there to provide a creative transition from the low block to carry the ball into wide areas on the counter and look for the genuine striker, and fill back in midfield if required. Other 4-4-2s, such as that used by Roy Hodgson at Crystal Palace or Senegal under Aliou Cisse, defend as a 4-4-2 but use players who are not classic strikers in the front two roles. Hodgson used Wilfried Zaha and Andros Townsend, while Cisse dropped Main Biram Diouf, himself more of a defensive forward who chases and presses and creates room for others, in favour of Mbaye Niang, playing up front alongside Sadio Mane. Niang is most regularly used as a winger in Torino's 4-3-3 or 4-2-3-1, while Mane is a wide forward in Liverpool's 4-3-3. This means that the two strikers and the two wide players have greater positional fluidity, while they defend as a 4-4-2. The player's skill set means that they can drop off, break wide and swap in with wide players that can attack from deep to confuse opposition markers. Of course, many teams only use one striker anyway. The 4-2-3-1 is still very popular, even if its limitations against low blocks have been exposed at this World Cup, as has its reliance on really good, energetic and tactically aware defensive midfielders in the double pivot. 4-2-3-1 gives teams a variety of attacking options, and only requires one striker who can hold the ball up and bring others in, or in the case of Timo Werner at Germany, run beyond the playmaker. The three playing behind are there to create and cut inside, and so while they get into striking positions, generally speaking they're not strikers. There is the odd exception, like Mario Mandzukic playing wide at Juventus, but these are rare and don't generally imitate the two-man striking team. This system is supposed to give greater defensive solidity too, as the attacking three can fall back into a 4-4-1-1 or a 4-5-1 easily. These same considerations apply to a lot of three-man defensive line teams. The 3-4-3 uses one striker and two wide players. 3-5-2 can have two pure strikers, but generally tends to see at least one dropping off to play more as an attacking midfielder. A good example of this is England's fluid 3-5-2, which effectively sees one pure striker, Harry Kane, playing with Raheem Sterling, who drifts wide or drops off ahead of the two attack-minded midfielders. The aim is to create space through movement, or to create overloads between the lines to allow quick exchanges and putting players through on goal. This movement, as well as the defensive considerations of more players who can drop off, is the key to why two strikers tend not to be selected. Much attacking play now consists of this creation of movement and space, and two strikers can be too static. Similar players don't tend to work so well together and are more easily marked by the centre-backs. The old pairing of one large striker to win the knockdowns for a smaller poacher is now redundant when pressing can cut down on crossing and physically strong quick centre-backs can mark players so well. Teams now try to attack by working in the spaces between the lines, hence the idea of a false nine striker dropping off and allowing movement from inside forwards towards the goal, and attacking midfielders getting into the box beyond one main striker. Given all that, the reason that Uruguay have persisted successfully with Cavani and Suarez is largely down to their qualities and their extraordinary work rate, as well as that of the midfield that plays behind them. Oscar Tabarez's system requires both strikers to track back and press, and they do this brilliantly. The work of Lucas Torreira and the rest of the Uruguay midfield also means that they can still play with solidity and leave at least one of the two strikers free for counters. But players like this are rare. It's little wonder that both Suarez and Cavani have over 100 caps, and both play elsewhere in systems that require them to drop off and create space as well as act as a lone focal striker. It's rare to have two strikers that can also fit into this, and that's why Uruguay are the exception at this World Cup, and not the norm.
OneFootball is the app for you. There's constantly updated news, squad information, fixture lists, and all the rest. Take a look at the link in the description to find out more. Thanks for watching.